What's up, everybody? It's Josh here, and I wanted to make this video as kind of a rant. I'm probably going to title it the pros and cons of a somewhat OCD person, or the pros and cons of being somewhat OCD, rather. And I guess I've always battled with this, and what it is a certain degree of obsession into particular. Those who have watched my videos for a while probably know me well enough to know that I go off on tangents about a particular subject or interest. Something piques my interest, and I pursue it nonstop until I've saturated myself with the knowledge I can on that subject. But it comes with a price. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. The price for knowledge is a dedication to truth, which comes at exposing many of the falsities that we come to cherish as we're growing up. And I guess if I could say what I mean by being OCD, everyone has a varying degree of these things. I watched a video the other day from a Harvard professor, and he was talking about personality types and how they're finding genetically that diseases, mental illnesses, they're more homogenized than we thought. They tend to permeate the entirety of our society and not just certain people. So no longer can we say, well, it's us and them, and these people have this disease and these people have this problem. We all have a varying degree of these. An example I used was Tourette's. With Tourette's comes, some people have outbursts, and some people have facial tics. Now, I've had facial tics. It could be a degree of Tourette's, and perhaps my outbursts are just different. Maybe they're more prolonged. I don't know. It's a speculation. But what I'm saying is that we all have a certain amount of, many of us have this OCD. Now, I want to talk about two different types of people here. The type of people who, like me, go off on tangents. I know there are a lot of you out there. These are the philosophers in my eyes. These are the ones who, many of the people who have brought forth some of the best ideas in history have had all kinds of mental problems. And I'm not saying that a person with mental issues is superior in discovering knowledge. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that these are the people that are willing to dedicate and take risks, do stupid things like poke needles to the back of their eyeball to test the light and how it bends, and very strange things that people have done in the name of science and progress and exploration. And many of the psychotics have done it in a vain attempt to be recognized, but many more of them have done it out of curiosity. So there's a group of folks who do constant exploration like that. And then there's a lot of folks who are very much more suited to the mundane, menial tasks of getting up, going to work, and having a routine. Now, what I see is a lot of the people who are the more up in research and get them, the more OCD types, tend to feel like they cast a shadow over the people who don't. They're the ones who are considered asleep. You see what I mean? These are the people who say, oh, look, you're not even putting forth any effort to learn. It's not that people are programmed, although they are to a degree, but when I'm talking about the folks who have a completely... Your mind structures itself to your environment. So if you tend to be a person who's more obsessive about subjects, you will tend to lean towards that direction. Your brain will tend to mold itself to that. They've compared brains of completely different types of people and found some amazing differences in the way that our brains structure over our lifetimes. If I were to say anything more on the two types of people in that regard, I would say that it's really important to recognize that both halves are needed. That if everybody was out there exploring and being all, obsessive about everything, nothing would really get done. And although maybe the things that are getting done aren't to our satisfaction, it's still, you see what I'm saying, that in order to build, even if we're building towards a better future, it takes people with dedication, perseverance, people who can pursue one subject for a long period of time and be interested in that. And I guess my point here is that I kind of envy that in people who can, who are business oriented, people who are focused on getting things done, making money. It's not just money for the money's sake, but the people who things seem to flow easily for them. For me, I'm horrible at business. I end up giving things away. I'm too interested in the next thing, and it's really hard for me to settle on one particular thing. And I've never known what I want to do, and it makes it really hard because I don't know where I want to put. If I were to sit here and think, what do I want to do with the rest of my life, with the future as far as education or pursuing, I don't know, any type of career or pursuit I want to do. I guess I have this nature of having fun. I just like to have fun, but I like to work hard too. And this is really the root of what because it's hard for people to understand that some of us who are scatterbrained, if you will, tend to be very very hard workers, very reliable people. For example, when I have a job, I work my ass off, no matter what it is. And that's what got me in the situation I am in with my back and my health. But, being a hard worker when you're working doesn't mean that you pursue work. Even when I had my own business, it was hard for me to really pursue work. I was too interested in other things. And, with the family, it makes it extra difficult. But I know at this point in my life, I have to make a major change. And I have to turn around and I have to start making an income, since I haven't been able to work with my back, my wife has had to take up the extra slack, so I've got to get back in the game. And it's hard to do when you have that constant interest in new things all the time. Maybe it's a degree of mental programming through life, and maybe it's also a degree of the obsession that comes with consuming substances. As far as I drink my coffee, I have my vices, and it becomes such a routine, that you can't break away from it sometimes. Not that you can't, but you don't want to. There have been times when I wanted to quit everything and just go totally straight, and then other times when I use these plants to my advantage. And that's another thing. You go through these cycles where sometimes you're totally opposed to something, and sometimes you're totally for something. It seems wishy-washy at times, but it's being flexible. It's like bending to, okay, this is working, no, this is working. I feel like I have this child mind that's absorbing everything around me, but at the same time I can't focus on one thing. And so, I don't know. Maybe some of you can relate to that. It's quiet here. My family just went to pick berries. My niece came up, and my wife and my niece, her niece, my niece-in-law, and our two kids, they loaded up to go berry picking, and I I didn't want to go because I was just like, it'd be nice to have 2 hours by myself. It's been a long time. I mean, the kids are always here, and since I'm not working, it's even harder. Taking care of kids is much harder. And to finish this off, this was funny. My son was over there playing with these flowers, the clovers in the yard. I'm always paranoid about bees, because I don't know if the kids are allergic or not. So he's like 22 months, 20 months. He's over there, he's playing with the flowers, and I look over and I'm like, Sawyer, what you doing there? And he just kind of turns and he goes, ah. And I just knew, it was an instinct right away. I just knew he got stung. I don't know how I knew. I guess I didn't really know he was playing with the clovers till afterwards. It was just like, okay. I walked over and I said, give me your hand. And there's a stinger poking out with the butt of the bee on it. And I quickly just went, tink, pulled it out. And when I wasn't sure at first, I pulled it out and I looked at it, and just venom just started going bloop, bloop, and I could watch it pulsing and pumping. My thought was that I got it out just in time. It's funny because I went and read a thing about it. First thing I did, I pulled it out, I ran inside and I Googled bee sting essential oils. And the first thing that came up was lavender oil, and the first thing I read said, put lavender oil, it'll neutralize it. So I just dumped lavender on his hand because I couldn't see exactly where it was. It's gone now, he's fine. And but I think I pulled it out in time. It's funny because they said that the old-fashioned way was to say that don't grab the stinger, wait till you have a credit card or something you can scrape it off with. And then I read this other article that said, new studies show that you you don't even worry about it. Just get it out any method you can as quick as possible. And that, I guess that was funny to me because, like all the studies, vitamins will cure you, vitamins will kill you. You know, this gives you cancer, this cures cancer. And I tie that into kind of how I'm wishy-washy in thinking, you know, when you're OCD. Like, I believe this. Oh, no, I'm finding out that's not true, and you have to adjust your thoughts. Some people are much more difficult to adjust their thoughts. I mean, it's impossible for them to alter the way they think. You know, extremely religious people, for example, who are finally exposed to like the world of the internet, where they realize that other people have different opinions of what God is, and they go crazy trying to defend it because they're not willing to go, because they spent too long thinking a certain way. And I feel like maybe I lean the opposite direction by not thinking long enough in one way. You know what I mean? Not tying myself down to a particular, okay, this is what I believe. Because every time I do that, I end up disappointed. And I'm trying to be fair to myself and true to myself by being honest and just put it this way. There's nothing that I will believe just because I want to believe it. And at the same time, there's nothing that I won't believe because I don't want to believe it. You see what I mean? If I'm proven to be wrong on something, I'm not going to go against it because of what I want to believe any more than I would not listen to someone. It's just very important for us all to listen, I think, and move forward as a society. And hope you all are doing well.